Investigate Earth podcast. I'm your host, Chad, alongside my beautiful wife, Sherry. On tonight's episode, we're going to dive into one of the most explosive conversations that kind of emerged after this tragic assassination of Charlie Kirk. In the days since, Ian Carroll and Candace Owens have both sparked outrage by suggesting Israel is the one that bears responsibility for the Charlie Kirk assassination. Now, obviously, these comments have ignited debate across media, politics, the conspiracy world, and there has been one person in particular that has been speaking out against Ian Carroll and Candace Owens, and that is Ashton Forbes. With us tonight is Ashton Forbes, who is here to kind of cut through the noise and respond to some of these claims that Ian Carroll has made alongside Candace Owens. And for those that do not know, Ian Carroll and especially Ian Carroll has been a friend to our show. He has been a friend to Ashton as well. So let's go ahead and welcome Ashton Forbes on to the stage. Ashton, welcome, man. How's it going?
Oh, it's going. How are you guys?
We are fantastic. It's so good to have you back on, man. We've obviously we've had you on so many episodes on our podcast on audio primarily. We primarily do audio. We are doing video on tonight's episode. What we do have to make an announcement for those that have not saw Ashton Forbes post over the past, I don't know, a couple of hours, as Ian Carroll did back out as of right now. Now, I did actually send Ian Carroll the link to this. So if he does change his mind somewhere in between here and we see him pop up, then he can come in. But Ashton, just go ahead and first talk about kind of where this all started with Candace Owens, Ian Carroll. And for those that do not know or don't have a backstory on this, what we do know is Ian Carroll, about a year ago, he came on our podcast. I know he's came on your stuff. He supported your work a lot. He also supported our work quite a bit. One of my critiques of Ian was, kind of once he hit the mainstream, right? And I think that was something you had actually said on your X account. And he said it kind of seemed like it was, him kind of hitting mainstream to where he kind of just, I don't know, ignored everybody in the past, and especially things that were consequential to his beliefs or kind of his belief system. One of the things I criticize him of, and this is something that I had said, is like, once you build your platform on everything is Israel, then it's kind of hard to decipher anything that isn't Israel. Give us a little bit of the backstory on Ian Carroll and Candace Owens.
Well, if you could first just share the image that I posted, that I shared in here. I just want everybody to look at this. This is Erica Kirk. Her husband was just assassinated. She has 2 children who she can't even tell what happened to her husband, to their father, because of how horrific it is. People out there have no empathy whatsoever. They have completely lost the plot. We are through the looking glass at this point. People that are making up fake conspiracies for their own just mentally deranged, sick political agendas need to be locked up in an insane asylum.
Yeah.
Look at her eyes and think about what you are doing to her and to her family. Mm-hmm. It literally does not matter what the truth is. What really matters is what's happening to Erica Kirk and her family, the people whose lives were destroyed when an assassin put a bullet through Charlie Kirk's neck.
Yeah.
That image will never get out of my head for as long as I live.
For sure.
And the first thing I want to say is the people out there that are pushing these conspiracy theories about it, they are the worst scum-sucking pieces of shit on the face of the earth. People wanted me to come on here and be nice. I am not Charlie Kirk. He was a better person than I am. This guy, the people that are doing this, they're trying to claim the high ground that they're just asking questions, which I call jacking off. These people that are doing this, just asking questions, they're not doing this for the truth. They're claiming to be victims because people are attacking us for just asking questions. They're not the victims. Charlie Kirk and Erica Kirk are the victims. How dare you even try to propose that? You are the worst human beings out there. Just tell the truth of what you're doing. What they're doing is they saw an opportunity to make this about their political agenda and they took it immediately. Ian Carroll, Candace Owens, Ryan Matta, Jason Hinkle, John Cullen. These are the worst scumbags ever, and they should be shunned from polite society.
Yeah.
Not only have they been making up fake conspiracies since less than 24 hours after he was shot, they're still doing it right now. Ian Carroll is literally replying to people just less than an hour ago after he dodged this debate. I've been calling out these liars for a week. I made a big post that went viral about how I disavow these people. I owe them nothing. People are trying to say, Ashton, they platformed you. So don't you have to agree with whatever they say? No. Hell no. In fact, to have integrity means to say when somebody is lying, to call them out, to say, you know what, even though they're technically my friends, even though they did me a favor, platform me before, I'm going to still do the right thing instead of just pulling the line. So what has been happening is that these people, and it started actually with Sam Tripoli. Sam Tripoli was pushing this early on September 12th. That was over a week ago. Yeah. And I started calling him out because I saw right away how this was going to fester and grow. And their agenda is clear. Their agenda is they saw an opportunity to blame this on Israel, and they went all in on it. None of these people are trying to get the truth for what happened to Charlie Kirk. And the absolute way that you can prove that's the case is you just have to ask them one question. Who do you think shot Charlie Kirk? The moment you ask that of them, they have no answer whatsoever. And the reason is they're not trying to solve anything. They're not trying to put a story together. They're just trying to spin a narrative so that they can blame Israel, because these people are 100% obsessed. They have a movement that they've created where they are trying to, disassociate us from Israel, whatever. I don't even care about that. I don't care about that. In fact, maybe it's a good idea to get foreign lobbying out of our government. I agree with that. What I don't agree with is using Charlie Kirk's death to that end. Dishonest. And that is 100% what they've been doing. Do not let them gaslight. Do not let them get out of this. This is what they've been doing, and it's abhorrent.
Yeah. And, there's a lot of people, Ashton, that have been saying, since you have taken this pretty big stance, I guess a lot of people are saying pro-Israel stance. You are being pro-Israel now because you were calling out Ian Carroll. You were calling out Candace Owens, these people that have, as you say, platformed you. And I say more so Candace, I guess, than Ian, because we all used to kind of hang and chat with Ian quite a bit. I wouldn't necessarily think that he has platformed you. I know you've been on Candace Owens once or twice. But what do you say to the people that say that you must have got paid now because you were so hardcore on this anti-Israel conspiracy about Charlie Kirk's assassination?
Well, yeah, I want to address all those questions too. And all the questions about people, people have all these criticisms of me addressing this. And we're going to address all of them tonight. Before I do that, I want to just read a Bible passage, which is Matthew 24:28. Just wherever there's a corpse, the vultures will gather. And that's what's going on here is these opportunists saw a chance to not only make it about Israel, but to also get a bunch of clicks. They saw an opportunity to get a whole bunch of clicks, and they took advantage. And again, another way to prove this 100% is just ask them, why didn't you just wait a week? Why did you immediately jump on this whole narrative in under 24 hours? None of this was going to go away. You could have waited a week. The reason why they didn't wait is because these are the worst kind of piece of shit grifters out there. What they do is they need engagement. But whatever is the hottest thing out there, they need to jump on it right away. Start making TikTok videos about it because it gets them huge amounts of views. And that's why they're doing it. It's 100% why Candace Owens was doing it. She did 3 ad reads in one of her videos. She's bragging about how many people are watching her weirdo schizo videos that are just literally psychotic. And we're going to talk about some of those as well. I am not Jewish. I am not paid by anybody. I do and say whatever I want. And the reason why I decided to speak out about all of this is because I had seen this growing trend. I had never called these people out, even though there's several things that I significantly disagreed with where they were doing this same thing, like with the Trump assassination attempt, and several other cases as well. But this was the line for me, because a man was politically assassinated, and he was politically assassinated by a left-wing radical terrorist. And this is our chance to actually stop some of this stuff. We've got trans shooters basically every few weeks happening, shooting up schools. And what I would tell the people out there that are the people jacking off over this is it so incredible? Is it so impossible to believe that maybe it was just a radicalized leftist that did this?
Mm-hmm.
Is that so unreal for these people?
Right.
And so this is the reason that I have grown a large following. Maybe not large, but whatever you want to call it, over the last couple years. And I can't think of any better thing to use that for than to tear down these disgusting grifters. They need to just be completely expelled from social media. They can go into their own little corner of social media where they all do their little schizo stuff together, and everybody else just ignore them. Shun them, expose them for what they are, and remove them from polite society. So that's why I'm doing this, and no other reason. And for the people that a lot of people have said, stick to MH370, stick to politics, or stick to science or whatever. First of all, don't ever tell me what to do. I'm going to do whatever I want all the time.
Yeah.
Second thing is, I've learned a really good lesson from this. We can never give these people 0-point energy. We can never give these people super weapons that can destroy our planet. A type of person that's willing to use a man's death to come up with a fake narrative, to attack a whole group of people over it, that is exactly what the left does. Exactly. That's why the people that are doing this unambiguously are the woke right, because they are identical to the woke left. They are gaslighting. They are making up narratives to vilify their adversaries so that people will attack them, just like the left does when they say, you're a Nazi, you're a fascist, you have to stop all the fascists. These people are doing the exact same thing, but they're doing it to the Jews, the Israelis.
Yeah.
And I won't stand for it on either side. It's not right when the left does it, and it's not right when the right does it either.
Let me ask you.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Ashton. Let me ask you this real quick, because, you know, obviously Nick Fuentes, for example, Nick Fuentes, I used to not necessarily agree with. I used to somewhat think that Nick Fuentes was similar to an Ian Carroll. Okay. So, and the more I watched Nick Fuentes over the past 2 years, I guess I can say, and Nick Fuentes has been around a lot longer than that. And for anybody
he's been going after Israel and Jews for 10 years.
Yeah.
He's not a grifter. That's what his whole platform is on.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's not somebody that's came in and said, okay, let's go blame Israel for all this stuff.
But the difference in Nick Fuentes, I guess, in this kind of space is that Nick Fuentes, like you said, he has backed up, or at least that has been his belief, his core structure.
Mm-hmm.
And he does believe the AIPAC is heavily infiltrated in U.S. politics. He has called that out. In some ways, Nick Fuentes has called that out very dramatically. He had said some wild shit out there, right? And Ashton, I think you've said some wild shit too. But I think also at the same time, that gets eyes to your video, at the same time sending a message to where, like, he's heavily researched. And I would almost say, and I could be wrong about this, I would say that Nick Fuentes in some ways is kind of like you, but just not with MH370, I think, with the Israel AIPAC situation. Now, Nick Fuentes has commented on this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I found interesting about one of his videos, I want to play this real quick. It was Nick Fuentes saying about the low IQ anti-Semitism, which is kind of wild. But let's go ahead and get to that real quick. I want to play this video for you guys. Check this out. This is Nick Fuentes, and then we'll comment on it. Here you go.
And the reason that I am digging in on this, I cannot fucking wait for it to be proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that this was some left-wing douchebag, because the low IQ anti-Semitism is dragging us to hell. It really is. We have reached a critical mass. And let's be honest, since October 7th, It has been a grift for many to glom on and post the most base, and I'm not saying based, I'm saying base, as in low, simple, primitive. It has been a fucking grift for various freaks and losers. They know that if they just shovel out the most low IQ, anti-Jew content, that's the easiest way to blow up on Twitter right now, just obviously. And as a consequence, now there isn't even a semblance of a movement. It's just an assortment of like Muslims that are anti-white, many of them, and many of them aren't American. A number of weirdo leftists, other assorted people, because it is so popular and just easy, frankly, to shit on Israel and get a following. Now we have a ton of these people, and they don't understand politics. They don't know anything about politics at all or how it works. All they know is how to press one button. And so everything that happens. Now, granted, because of the nature of the problem, that's a pretty reliable button to press. If you look at many of the events over the past 2 years, if you're pressing the Jew button every time, you're going to have like a 95% hit ratio, 99% hit rate. And on some level, you might be right. Bombing Iran, yep. Trump getting elected, yep. But some things, it doesn't really work. And it's showing the limitations of the new coalition. We have a real low versus elite human capital problem. And this might be the biggest demonstration of that. And the reason it's becoming a problem, I'll just reiterate very quickly, and then we'll move on into the news. I don't want to spend all my time talking about this again on the show tonight. But look, this is a battle. This is not a battle that I chose to have, but I'm being forced into it. I didn't want to step on everybody's toes. If people are blaming Israel, I said this to Dave Smith over the weekend. I said, if people are blaming Israel, I'm not really upset about that. But I started to get pissed off when people said, oh, you don't believe it automatically? You got the memo. You got the call. You're afraid. Fuck you. I'm still at my house. I'm afraid. I'm still at my fucking house where someone tried to kill me. I'm not afraid of fucking nothing. And I've been on this for 10 years. No, I'm not going to take shit from some health conspiracy theorist, from some crypto grifter pointing the finger at me saying I'm not a true believer. Fuck you.
So there you go. So there. Oh, my bad. I literally just took us off the screen. So that was Nick Fuentes. And listen, I got to say, you know, I believe a lot of the stuff about Israel. I'm not going to lie. I mean, there are a lot of things, AIPAC, the influence on our politics. You know, Nick Fuentes even says that maybe Trump was actually elected because of Israel. You think about the funding, everything. You think about even just Democrats and Republicans. It's not on one side. We have politicians on both sides of the party, on both sides, Democrat and Republican, that are heavily funded by AIPAC. There is also that accusation, which we don't know for sure, about Charlie Kirk, that maybe he was offered $150 million to be more pro-Israel.
That's going to get dispelled this week. But yeah, keep going.
Okay, it's been dispelled. So
no, not yet. It's going to get dispelled probably once Erica Kirk goes on her podcast. That was probably the reason why Ian backed out, was that earlier this morning, or maybe yesterday night, whatever it was, Erica Kirk apparently is going to go on a podcast and address all these rumors. And it's not going to be to confirm these rumors. There's no way it's going to be to confirm these rumors. So the walls are closing in on these people. And I've been railing on them for over a week. And this should give me a lot of credibility way before all this stuff has come out, right? And they should have been waiting too. These people, they deserve everything coming to them, because they could have just waited. They could have just waited and let's see how things play out, but they couldn't wait. And now the evidence is coming out, and it's hammering them. All their fake narratives are going to be destroyed. Candace Owens pretended like she had some secret letter or something. Nick Fuentes called her out, told her she needs to release that immediately. You can't just pretend like you have this secret information that you know about. Candace Owens is one of the biggest liars I've ever seen. She's been lying nonstop about this situation. But before we get to her, I want to address Nick Fuentes. First, I'm sorry, Nick Fuentes. I believe the bullshit. I owe you an apology form. I believe that you are one of these people that just automatically blame the Jews for whatever it was. And you're not.
Yep,
I
did
actually
too.
watched one of
Yeah.
his streams the first time, and he actually went through the evidence, and it would have been easy for him to just go, you know what, I'm going to go all in on this. Israel did it as well.
Right,
Because
right.
for these people, for these grifters out there, the low IQ anti-Semites, as he called them, which is a very appropriate term for them, it's a team sport. It's a team sport for them. It's not about what's true. It's not about what's accurate. For them, it's about whatever can blame Israel, whatever they can do to blame the Jews, that's correct. Literally, I've got Jake Shields, is that who it is? In my replies, literally saying that you're correct to always blame Israel. I'm just going, if that's your viewpoint, I've got to be honest. You are never allowed to have 0-point energy technology. Never. Never in this world are you allowed to get that technology because you are not responsible or intelligent enough to handle the responsibility of that type of weaponry. Now that I've apologized to Nick, I also want to let people know this. I haven't posted this, and I haven't posted the proof, although I have it. Nick Fuentes has been liking my posts. He has been liking my posts, calling out Ian Carroll, including the one saying that I'm going to cook the shit out of Ian Carroll, which was supposed to happen today.
Right.
So for the people out there that are holding out hope that Nick is going to change his mind, let me tell you, he also liked the post where I said that Candace Owens is a left winger pretending to be a right winger. And she is. Her and Ian Carroll. These people are literally just pretending to be right wingers, pretending to cozy up to right wingers, and they're fracturing the party using this Israel bullshit. That's what they're doing, is they're pulling people away.
How do you think they're left wingers?
They're the woke. I mean, the woke right is the same as the woke left, right? And so, for example, let me pull this up. I've got some clips ready to go right here for you guys. Let's get into it. Let's take a look at what Candace Owens was saying just yesterday. Here's Candace Owens. If you want to pull this up, literally defending Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel, of all people.
Of the Federal Communications Commission, Brendan Carr jumped up and he criticized Jimmy Kimmel's remarks. He threatened federal action against ABC affiliates who carried the show. What? Federal action if you carry the Jimmy Kimmel show? Does that seem right to you? Okay. Again, if you're on the right and you cheered this on, do you understand? We never, ever, ever should be applauding federal action when it comes to speech. Okay. We're all losing. We are all losing. You have to wake up. That's what happened. Brendan Carr of the FCC was joining Benny Johnson. And that's what he said, that he absolutely wants to make sure that people are not carrying this show.
Yeah, that's, I think, good enough of the clip. So, first of all, the feds did not fire Jimmy Kimmel. They are allowed to criticize. They are allowed to go on shows and say, hey, you are literally violating FCC regulations. They are allowed to do that. And this is the craziest hypocrisy. This is exactly what the left says. The left goes, we didn't fire you from your job. We didn't force that. We didn't, because you didn't get a vaccination, because you didn't get this COVID shot. We didn't fire your company did that. But you told the companies that anybody who doesn't get the shot has to be fired. Right? This is the same bullshit. So first of all, the amount of hypocrisy right here is insane. Second of all, the FCC didn't take no action at all. Jimmy Kimmel literally went on television and lied intentionally. He said that this shooter, he says, MAGA's trying to make this shooter into anybody but one of them. What this, and by the way, this is after the officials came out and said that this is a homosexual man living with a trans furry. Okay. After they said no question that he actually like went away from his family, who is actually right wing, wrote anti-fascist stuff on the bullets. So for Jimmy Kimmel to go up there and lie like that, he should never be allowed to be on TV ever again. Right? This shouldn't even be controversial. Well, it's actually disgusting and the hypocrisy is that Jimmy Kimmel was literally out there bragging about how President Trump got deleted from Twitter. I mean, it's just so insane. I can't believe Candace Owens. We're so far through the looking glass when Candace Owens is defending Jimmy Kimmel.
Well, so here's the thing, Ashton, and here's what I'll say about the Jimmy Kimmel thing from my perspective, right? So, and I understand, like Candace Owens sounds like she's defending Jimmy Kimmel, and actually on our podcast where we talked about Jimmy Kimmel being canceled, the thing I'm worried about, right, is if we look back in the past 4 years, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden era, to where everyone on the right was being censored, silenced. Literally, the sitting president of the United States was banned on social media. And what did the left do? They celebrated, they cheered it. And one thing I said on those, and I said on those podcasts, I said, the left, like whoever's listening to our show, just understand that like eventually this shit will happen to you. So like, whereas you might be cheering it on now, is going to happen to you. This is not just a one-sided issue or deal. And so my thinking is, I understand the FCC regulations. I understand all that. But why did no one do anything about all of the crazy shit that Jimmy Kimmel has said in the past 4 years? And now all of a sudden Trump's in, and now you have the FCC guy go on Benny Johnson to where he's saying, hey, yeah, we got to do something about this. And, you know, it wasn't hours later, Jimmy Kimmel was canceled. I think from my standpoint is, and I think this, I hope that you would feel the same way with me, is that even with your MH370 stuff, right? If you had, which you do, you have a platform, you have YouTube, you have all these other platforms, but say that Trump or the government or whoever came and said, we don't like what Ashton's saying, because maybe
let me just cut you off. Right? Let me cut you off. I get where you're going with this. Let me just cut you off. They already did it. They already did it. I'm not going to listen to any bullshit about, oh, it's a slippery slope if we do it. They literally already censored us, guys. When people are going, hey, careful, because it'll come back to you. They already did it. I lost my job because I wrote a lawsuit against the mask mandate in California. I lost my job over that. Okay? I don't want to hear any bullshit from anyone about slippery slopes. I'm somebody that suffered. Many people did. Tim Pool is actually leading the charge on this on social media. We have to stop with this suicidal empathy and this virtue signaling. I see Seth Dillon of the Babylon Bee doing it, going, guys, we need more speech. The answer to this is more speech. How delusional are these people? They're not living in reality. In reality, we have to shut down the media institutions that are radicalizing the left-wing domestic terrorist. That is the answer. And I will even tell you which ones. Reddit is the first one to go. Reddit needs to be seized by the feds and shut down. Reddit is the worst hive of scum and villainy on the face of the earth. Literally.
Well, and you think about all these, and you think about all these mass shootings, they all are on Reddit. This is where they go.
Exactly. This shooter, I'm sure he was on Reddit. I'm sure he had a Reddit account. No question, no doubt. If you go to Reddit, they're cheering for Charlie Kirk's death everywhere. And if you speak out against it, you are instantly banned. So you don't come talking to me about censorship. You literally can't say anything that's even vaguely right-wing anywhere on Reddit, or you're banned.
Yeah.
It's absolutely ridiculous. So the people that like Candace that are pushing this, like, we should be against this. Guys, it's over. That ship sailed. You know when that ship sailed? When you killed the guy that was trying to talk to you on college campuses. That was the guy that wanted to talk.
So Ashton, what you're saying is, and by the way, this is kind of similar to, you know, we did the podcast on Jimmy Kimmel, and I just kind of gave some of my thoughts, freedom of speech.
I did too.
Like absolute freedom of speech. But then as I watched Steven Crowder, for example, I watched kind of what he said about
pissed off.
Yeah, he was like, look, you know what? We're done with like being, you know, just pushed over. We're done with all this shit. You know, if you come to our events, you do this shit, we're going to meet you with violence if you are coming to, you know, put violence on us. Right. And I think that's kind of what you're saying is to this degree is like, well, you know what? You fucked us and silenced us for years. And now all of a sudden we're not supposed to silence you when you say the most horrific shit, especially about someone that was assassinated in front of the world.
Right.
On social media.
Like, and we all saw it right away.
It's not that we're silencing. They can say the grossest stuff they want and people are losing their jobs for it. I'm not even that big of an advocate. It's when you're literally calling for violence, like literally radicalizing in terrorism. And there is a lot of that on Reddit that is going unpunished, even though it literally violates site-wide rules. One more thing I want to say is that my subreddit did get banned. When people say, oh, then maybe they're going to ban you in MA Street, they did. My subreddit didn't last 2 weeks. Didn't last 2 weeks. And you want to know what? When they banned my subreddit, you know what reason they gave me? None. Literally no reason. There wasn't even a rule violation. Just said you're banned. And I put in an appeal. No reason given. First, they didn't respond. Then I put another appeal in and they didn't respond again. So, and the only reason why it's not happening right now on Twitter or X is because Elon Musk bought it. That's the only reason. So this is what I'm going to tell the people that want to talk about free speech. Either you shut them down, or the next time they come back, they're going to shut down everything again. There is no talking our way through the problem. There's no unifying with these people. You either shut down their radical domestic terrorism or you don't. And this is, or we're going to all pay the price. And they want to kill us.
But
they want to kill us for
line?
our speech, for telling the truth. That's the reality.
Where is the fine line, though, between hate speech, violence, and free speech? Like, where is the fine line? Because when you think about whoever's in administration at that time, they have different definitions, you know, just like we had different definitions of gang of function, for example. Like, where is the fine line where we cut it down and we don't?
And that's what we should be debating. That's what people should be talking about. Where is the line? How can we agree to where the line is somewhere out there? Because right now, we don't have it at all. And I just got to be honest, from what I'm seeing, from the way that the left is reacting to this, the way they're cheering or what have you, they're not seeing the line in the same spot we're seeing the line. For them, the line is, if you're against us, you're banned, right? So if you're that radical, I mean, there's nothing we can do to unify on that front. I don't know what to tell people. We're not in this Disney World movie reality where we're just going to talk this out. This was like this view that we had like in the 90s that I'll defend I don't agree with what you say, but I'll defend it to the death. You know, that's not how we live anymore. These people literally just want to shut us down and that's it. So harsh actions have to be taken if we want to solve the problem. Or if we want to go ahead and have our suicidal empathy, then more people are going to die. That's what's going to happen. Those are the choices. So just like with 0 point energy, sometimes there's not good choices. This is the reason why they hide 0 point energy from us. It's because there's not a good answer. Because if we do give this technology out, we're going to blow ourselves. We're going to destroy ourselves. Can we really trust any of these people that are this radical with this type of weaponry? No, we can't. So there's no good answer on that front. And there's no good answer on this front either, because we have let it fester too long. The systematic brainwashing on places like Reddit, they've been banning people like this since, I'm going to say the Donald is when we had the turning point.
Yeah.
No pun intended. Was when the Donald got banned. That was the turning point when Reddit went full left-wing nut job, basically. So from the free speech issue, that's my view. That's what has to happen. I wholly agree with Tim Pool. And for a lot of people, it won't impact them until it happens to somebody in their family.
Right.
When somebody in their family is a victim, then they'll realize that radical action simply has to be taken. And we have to be careful. And that if we are good and honest people, then we will take appropriate action that stops the behaviors that are causing this without overreaching, overstepping, and censoring people that don't need it. But the last thing I'm going to say is that, like I said before, people with social media accounts, YouTube accounts that had hundreds of thousands of followers, what have you, they all got banned for going against COVID lockdowns, for speaking out against COVID shots, for saying that the election was stolen, which is a harmless thing to say. There was FBI going to people's houses because of things that they were saying on social media related to this. So don't come at me with free speech bullshit. We don't have free speech. We never have. It's a pipe dream.
Yeah. I want to play this clip real quick. And this was Ian Carroll on a podcast, which we'll talk about this as soon as we play this. But this was Ian Carroll on, I can't even remember the guy's name, to be honest with you. And I don't really give a shit who this guy is. But he is on the big streamer. I can't remember. You'll know who he is probably once we play it. But here is something that he said about the assassination. Listen.
Ever since it happened, and I just found it on Instagram, I knew someone would take a Mauser and disassemble it and give us the time of how long it takes to disassemble this rifle. And this dude who, like, clearly he is very experienced with this rifle, it takes him like multiple minutes to disassemble this rifle with multiple tools. And then it doesn't fit in the backpack, obviously. It's like not going down your pants. It's like, where the fuck was this rifle? And why are you disassembling it on the roof, allegedly, jumping down, running into the woods, reassembling it, changing your clothes, leaving the rifle, which apparently you could sneak around with in your pants anyways, and then you just leave it there? And then you've left it there and you have to fucking sit in your car for a day and a half to try to like wait to retrieve it? When it was like, what are you fucking doing, bro? That is not a thing that people do. That's not real. So I have some serious fucking questions about this rifle.
Yeah.
And I just don't know if we're ever going to get the answers.
Probably not, or it's going to take you. I mean, look, we still haven't got the answer about Epstein, so why would we get the answers?
Or Butler, but that's the thing, is the Epstein files are right in the fucking heart of this. Like, you're telling me that there just happens to be this old Ashkenazi Jewish guy saying that he did it. Shoot me, I did it. Shoot me, I did it. And he also was he was on the scene for 9/11, and he called in a bomb threat to not the Boston, but one of the other marathons. He's like clearly an agent. Like, that's a spy. The reason why a dude of any nationality would show up at a whole bunch of major world events like that is because they're a part of organizations that orchestrate world events called intelligence agencies. Like, that's a fucking spy.
I brought that up to Owen, and I said, Utah's 99% white. There's barely any Jews there. He didn't seem to be too happy. I mean, he doesn't like the anti-Semitic, implications that have. But it's like, let's just look at the facts. How many Ashkenazi? It's just facts. How many Ashkenazi Jews are in Utah? Also saying, "Kill me, arrest me," distracting all of the law enforcement from there. He was also at 9/11. Is this guy just like? Why would he?
And now he has child porn on his phone too. Not beating any stereotypes. and he
Yes, there you go. That was Ian Carroll on Sneeko. By the way, I want to point out who Sneeko is, first of all, because I think this is important. Ian Carroll goes on Sneeko's podcast or live stream. Sneeko is a Muslim. Sneeko is definitely going for Mandami or whatever that dude's name is in New York City, right? So I think that the problem with this whole scenario is that we have completely forgotten about America First. I think that's why I am so hardcore on people listening more to Nick Fuentes, especially when it comes to this situation with Israel, because I mean, literally, there are people in Nick Fuentes's own live stream now that are calling him a Jew plant. Like, someone that is planted by Israel is Nick Fuentes. Like, of all people, because he doesn't just all of a sudden go with this Israeli narrative of the assassination. Now, the thing you have to understand is, like, I think we're losing sight, though, of America First, which is huge. And I think there has to be some type of discourse or backlash on this, because if you looked today, if any of you watched the Charlie Kirk memorial, the celebration of his life, I've never seen a bigger movement and a turning point, literally, for Christianity in America than I've seen since Charlie Kirk's assassination. And so Ian Carroll goes on Sneeko, which is Muslim. You look at the UK, you look at what's going on over in the UK, where Tommy Robinson is leading that protest and kind of the uprising of the people in the UK against the UK government, which is arresting people on an every freaking day basis. They're arresting 30 people a day in the UK for saying anything about the immigration and the people they are infiltrating into the UK. If you fly a UK flag in the UK, you can be arrested. And it's because they are mass immigrating, especially Muslims, into the United Kingdom. And if you speak out against that, then you have hate speech.
Well, you're a racist.
Well, but it's hate speech. And Pam Bondi herself just the other day said, well, we really got to start creating some laws about hate speech. This is the exact same shit that the UK did. And because of that, now there are 30 people a day being arrested. So, Ashton, the only way I would disagree with some of what you say is, like, freedom of speech, as much as we can possibly get it, we have to have it. We can't have hate speech laws. Sure. And even for people like Ian Carroll and Candace Owens,
stood for. He stood for freedom of speech. He wanted people that didn't agree with him to come out and talk to him so they could have discourse. And sometimes they would come on his side, sometimes they wouldn't. But that's the only way you're going to gain people.
Yeah, and by the way, the last thing I'll say is this memorial today, there were multiple people, including RFK. You had Erica Kirk herself. You had multiple people talking about freedom of speech is a core value of what Charlie Kirk believed in. And so when you see stuff like this, although we absolutely, I don't agree with Ian Carroll. I
No,
don't
I
agree
don't
with
either.
Candace Owens
I
on
don't
this
either,
particular
but
issue.
I think they deserve freedom of speech.
So let
They
me jump in here. So we don't need new laws. A lot of this is just gaslighting bullshit, right? We don't need new laws to fix the problem. We have laws on the books. Violent speech is already not protected. That's really all there is to it. So I'm not even listening to this stuff because it's just another way for people to try to, again, virtue signal. What I think some of these people are afraid of is that they've been lying a lot. And so they're afraid of that. But you know what? Lies are also protected speech. And I'm sitting here saying, I'm not asking for these people to be arrested. I'm just asking that polite society should shun them. Again, this is not a legal thing whatsoever. I want to address some of the fake arguments that Ian has been pushing. There's a lot that these schizo woke right people have been pushing, and they are systematically getting destroyed one at a time. So starting with the old man, they were claiming that the old man is he's part of the cover up. He's the guy that they paid to distract to get the gun, the professional hitman to get away. Right. Turns out we find out, no, he's just a psychopath. He's done this before. And he's also a pedophile, and he's got, child porn on his phone. Right. So boom, there goes that theory. So that one's shot down. Do these people ever apologize when their theories get destroyed? No. Let me do another one. The gun. They go, there's no way you could have broken down the gun and got it. We can literally see in the video the dude's got the gun in his hand when he's jumping off the roof. Now, some people go, I don't see a gun. Well, it's kind of pixelated, so it's kind of up to interpretation. But even Nick Fuentes says, I think I can see a gun in his hand. We found the gun in the woods. So again, guys, put 2 and 2 together. It's not really that complicated. Maybe your assumptions are just wrong. Maybe the reason why you're reaching false conclusions is because the assumptions are wrong. You might be right. The government may not be releasing all accurate information. But that doesn't mean that, Israel did it. This is the thing. This is the brain rot, is that they've started with a conclusion and they're working backwards. This is not the scientific method. This is not science at all. And that's why this is nothing like MH370, nothing like what I'm doing. I think people don't know who I am. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not a UFO guy or an alien guy. I'm a skeptic. I'm a guy that's based in quantum mechanics and electrical engineering. When you come at me and you go, wait, Ashton, I thought you believed in a conspiracy. That means you must believe in every conspiracy. No. And this is what you guys are doing is nothing, not even in the same ballpark as what I did with MH370. I came up with a story that made sense using all the evidence, all the official evidence. And heck, my story is the only story that can explain some of the evidence. You are doing the exact opposite of that. The exact opposite. Dismissing all the evidence that proves you wrong and then making up fake evidence so that you can come up with a story so you can say, this doesn't make sense. Therefore, the Jews did it. That is 100% literally what they're doing. And until these people can admit that's what they're doing, there can be no productive discussions with them. There can be no productive discussion. And I won't be debating Ian Carroll later. He backed out like a pussy. He is a pussy coward. And he knew he was going to get annihilated. And he ran away. Everybody out there that follows Ian Carroll and his garbage, you need to wake the hell up. You're being taken for a ride by this guy. And I'd say that as somebody who liked him, who considered him a friend. And he needs to own up to it. The reason why these people also can never admit when they're wrong. They never do. Ian Carroll said we were going to have boots on the ground in Iran like 4 months ago. Said, watch for it. It's coming in 2 months. This guy doesn't know shit about geopolitics. He's an Uber driver. He's an Uber driver that became a TikToker. So these guys, their track record is absolutely terrible. They also said, there's no bullet. The FBI doesn't have a bullet. That means Israel did it. And now we find out today, Charlie Kirk's executive producer comes out and says, I've gotten permission from the family. The surgeons pulled the bullet out of his neck, destroyed his neck. Erica Kirk in the speech today said that they told her she shouldn't even look at her husband because the bullet, how badly the bullet destroyed him. Literally said that. I was crying listening to that.
Yeah, I was too.
And these people are immediately go look at the reply. It's actually psychotic, the replies. Oh, this is all fake. He doesn't know HIPAA. These people don't know what HIPAA means. They can't even spell it. Health Information and Portability and Accountability Act. They don't even know what it means. This has nothing to do with a third party releasing information. It has to do with a doctor releasing your information without your request. These people are so stupid. It reminds me of the Redditors that were trying to debunk MH370. What they do is they try to come up, they pretend like they're experts when they're not, and they try to come up with some reason for why something's fake. That's what they do. This exact same thing that the Redditors did. And that's what these grifting people are doing with respect to the Charlie Kirk situation. So the bullet, we now know where the bullet is. So all these holes that they were using to justify their tribal hatred, all is falling apart. Do you see them apologizing? No, they just move on to the next thing. The conspiracy just gets deeper and deeper. Now Charlie Kirk's producer's in on the conspiracy. Now the surgeon is in on the conspiracy. And let me see, I got some more here.
Well,
they
I
also
want
said
to
that,
about Bill
one second, I
Ackman.
got one more. Let me do one more. They also said Ben Shapiro was going to take over TPUSA, that this was a whole Israel plot. Ben Shapiro is going to take over TPUSA, and boom, now it's Erica Kirk. And you know what they did after that came out? I can't believe this. Let me pull this up. Here it is. Let me pull this. So here you go. This is Joshua Reed. I think I've blocked Joshua Reed now. I'm blocking everybody pushing this garbage. Ian Carroll pushing this idea that Erica Kirk is potentially being silenced related to this. Erica Kirk received a call in the aftermath of the shooting from a very important person. Okay, that's fake. But there's more. Here you go. This is probably the absolute worst post I've seen by Ian Carroll. If you are a human,
I can't see it. Sorry.
I'm going to read it. Ever consider that Erica can't speak? If anything happened to her, what would happen to her children? What Erica isn't saying is just as important as what she is saying. Who is she not condemning? What theories is she not condemning? Holy crap, dude. You should be canceled just for this tweet. This is the sickest shit ever. I don't know. Maybe Erica Kirk is a little too busy trying to bury her husband to care about what some grifter piece of shit on the internet is saying. And this is just absolutely crazy. So this is why Ian backed out of the debate tonight, because I was going to show all these texts and just completely annihilate him tonight. That was what the plan was. And now it turned out.
By the way, Ashton, it does seem like Ian and Candace have both been backtracking since their original post and all the backlash they have got, right? I mean, I know you've been.
They've been trying to. Let me show some more. Let's show some more Ian Carroll stuff. So this is the worst part. These people, the people that are claiming that Israel did this, there's main stories that Charlie Kirk, his stance on Israel is evolving. That might be true. That might be true. That his position on Israel. That's not proof that they killed him, or even really a motive that they killed him. In fact, it's frankly ridiculous. He was an Israel supporter until the day he died. And I'm going to show you how disgusting and hypocritical these people are. I've got even more posts. This is Ian Carroll, just a few days before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. He says, Jesus defeated death so you can live. Ian Carroll reply says, and you've dedicated your life to serving the people who killed him. So, okay, so if they have these clips where they're now claiming that, oh, his stance was changing, how come you didn't bring that up before he died? How come you were still attacking him literally just days before now you've decided that his stance has changed?
Well,
yeah, okay, I see right through you, bro.
Yeah, I know, but the whole thing is coming from supposedly the Ackman guy took him to his house and said, listen, we're going to give you all this money for Turning Point USA for you to keep on Israel's side. And we even want you to come visit. Maybe even called him and said, come visit and, just take a picture at our, where all of our people died. And
to go to Israel.
Turned it down. But this is what they're standing on. So where is that coming from?
We have to make something clear.
I was looking for receipts. I don't see receipts on either side. I don't know what's going on with that.
We have to make something clear though. Well, we have to make something clear because, let's just talk about the logic of Israel potentially assassinating Charlie Kirk.
It's the stupidest shit I've ever
Hold
heard
on,
in my
hold
life.
on. Let's talk about this for a second. So if the logic is that Israel killed Charlie Kirk, right? You see this mass movement in America of pro-Christianity, which is, you saw this today in the memorial for Charlie Kirk. You've seen this throughout. You saw this over the past 2 weeks. Churches have been filled up like they've never been filled up before.
Mhm.
People are buying Bibles like they've never bought Bibles before. So if Israel wanted to do this, let's just say, for example, that Israel decided that they wanted to take Charlie Kirk out because he was going a little bit too maybe pro-Christian, anti-Israel. Maybe he was starting to rebuke some of the things that they wanted him to say or do or be a part of in Turning Point USA, which keep in mind, I'm not necessarily even debating that. I think that is possible. But Israel knows that if it came back that Israel did this ever in history, that they're done. And Israel heavily depends on the United States. And this mass movement of Jesus Christ, by the way, this is a Jesus Christ movement after Charlie Kirk. Everything Charlie Kirk did was for Jesus Christ. And literally Israel, or the Jews, the Jewish people, do not believe that Jesus Christ is the Savior. Yet Charlie Kirk, in his entire livelihood, everything that he did and was based on, and Erica and the entire movement of Turning Point USA was Jesus Christ. So it would be pretty dumb for Israel to do this. Absolutely. But it also goes back to the standpoint for me, and it's something I've always said. It's like, why does the United States and Christianity support Israel so much, support Jews so much? Because they are completely opposite.
In the Bible.
Well, no, but they are completely opposite.
It's in the Bible.
Because you have on one side Christianity that says Jesus Christ is the Savior. Jews say Jesus Christ is not the Savior, and we don't believe that. But yet we're supposed to be the ones out there defending Israel at all costs. But I just wanted to make that point. But I don't think that it's Israel that killed him in this particular case. Now, could we be wrong, Ashton? Here's the thing. So Cash Patel, I want to show you this tweet today. And Cash Patel said today, he says, which was pretty interesting. He says, as the director of the FBI, I am committed to ensuring the investigation into Charlie Kirk's assassination is thorough and exhaustive, pursuing every lead to its conclusion. The full weight of America's law enforcement agencies are actively following the evidence that has emerged, but our efforts extend beyond initial findings. We are examining every facet of the assassination. We are meticulously investigating theories and questions, including the location from where the shot was taken, the possibility of accomplices, the text messages, confessions, and related conversations, Discord chats, and the angle of the shot and bullet impact, how the weapon was transported, hand gestures observed as a potential signals near Charlie at the time of his assassination, and visitors to the alleged shooter's residence in the hours and days leading up to September 10th, 2025. Now, some details are known today, while others are being pursued to ensure every possibility is considered. Our primary focus is to complete the investigation and deliver justice. To protect the integrity of the investigation and subsequent prosecution, we cannot release every piece of information we have to the public right now, but we will ensure every question is addressed in the appropriate moment. Regarding the specific details, such as questions about the plane that allegedly turned off his transponder after departing from an airport near the assassination site, we can share updates when we have answers and where they are confirmed. After interviews with the pilot and consultation with the FAA, we determined that the transponder was not turned off. Incomplete flight data in rural areas caused the apparent gap. It says the entire FBI mourns the loss of Charlie Kirk. We will not rest until justice is served, and the investigation into assassination will continue until every question is answered. Now, in specific to this paragraph, I want to talk about this for a second, without getting too crazy in conspiracy. But where it talks about the question of the plane that allegedly turned off his transponder. So it sounds like the FBI is at the very least confirming that there was a private jet that left Provo, likely Provo, Utah, and at some point in time had turned off their ADSB. That was the accusation. They have since said that the pilot and consulting with the FAA said that we determined the transponder was not turned off, but it was incomplete flight data. This is problematic for me. Just being in aviation for as long as I've been, for, 20 plus years. The only time that you get a ADSB, which is where and how they track aircraft, anytime that you get this from an aircraft to where all of a sudden the ADSB seems to not respond anymore or it goes offline, you're talking about over far oceans or in extreme parts of Alaska. That is typically the only places you're going to see ADSB not be able to respond or contact. So there's a problem with this for me, especially with the actual circumstance of what they're saying. As far as the FAA said, well, it was in a rural area. That just doesn't happen in the United States, in the lower 48. And so there are things like that don't make sense.
Oh yeah,
there's weird stuff. Right? Let me jump in. There's weird stuff going on, of course, right? And here's the thing. So first of all, they are addressing the claims that are happening, right? So another one of these claims is somehow this plane is kind of, first of all, there's nothing to connect the plane to anything that was going on. This is the first problem, right? What does the plane have to do with any of this? Maybe if we didn't have a suspect, then maybe that could have made sense.
Right.
But we caught the suspect in under 33 hours, I think it was.
Mhm.
And how we caught the suspect, the dad recognized his son in the video. Okay. So, and they caught him 250 miles away. So when we're doing this kooky stuff about, oh, well, there's a plane that went off, this is like with MH370. When people are like, what about this weird FAA thing where this plane there's like a little thing on the tracker where this plane moves super fast. This must be the orbs that are no, there's not, doesn't necessarily all come together. People are trying to connect dots that don't connect together. So this is why you have to take all the evidence and come up with a story that makes sense. I was going to press Ian Carroll today and say, you give me the timeline, who you think shot him, where they went, what they went. And it's got to be consistent with the fact that we've got the shooter in custody. His dad recognized him and his dad turned him in, or at least they caused him to turn in. He confessed to his father about it when confronted. We also have 2 more documented confessions. Okay. One text messages with his furry lover and another one in the Discord. Okay. So now, in order for him to not be the guy, you need all of these things to be fake. This is the problem. People have painted themselves into a corner because now you need so many people to be in on the conspiracy. You need the shooter to be in on it. You need his dad to be sentencing his own son to death. You need Discord to be in on it. You also now need that the furry lover is also in on it. And you also have to come up with a way where the FBI created these text messages and then released them. I'll tell you what, guys, that's not what they do when they're doing a cover-up. They don't go, hey, guys, here's some text messages, and we're going to release them to you. You know why they don't do that? Because now either party, the shooter or the transfer, if they were to come out and say those text messages are fake, it's going to blow up the whole case. The whole case is going to blow up. Okay,
Yeah,
guys,
because
you have to use your mind. What they do, what they do is they don't release anything. If they were doing a cover-up, they wouldn't release anything at all. That's what they did with MH370. Let me land my plane here, is that people have been trying to compare this to MH370. Do you know what the government's official position is on MH370? Nothing. They never, US government never said anything, except for the fact that they looked at the pilot simulator and they said that there's nothing suspicious about it. So when people are trying to compare this and say, why do you trust the government all of a sudden? What do you mean? They never said anything about MH370. That's the point. And I want to say this as well. MH370, I didn't get into the case of MH370 until 9 years after it disappeared. A completely cold case where we had searched. Now, if it would have been abhorrent of me if I was pushing that MH370 conspiracy days after the plane disappeared. People would have been like, you're crazy. We haven't even searched yet. But that's not the case. When I got involved in MH370, they had already searched for years and found nothing. Found nothing in the official search. So there is absolutely no comparison whatsoever to be made between the MH370 situation and what the schizo conspiracy theory people are doing right now on this.
All right. Well, so the only thing I would respond to that, Ashton, is, trying to play devil's advocate here because we don't have Ian to actually debate because,
the timestamps on the actual
he didn't show up.
Text messages.
Yeah. Well,
we're not there.
We'll get into text messages in a minute because that's very interesting as well. But the same way that you believe the government is hiding the MH370 disappearance, right? And or their cover up, do you also maybe see why other people automatically maybe jump to conclusions, whether it's Israel or government, CIA, whatever, to where no one really trusts the government anymore. You know, you look at Kash Patel and the Trump administration with the Epstein thing, to where just the other day, Kash Patel says, well, we know that Epstein, at least as far as the evidence that we have, did not traffic any children to anyone. And he said this in front of Congress. And the interesting thing about that was Thomas Massey came on and said, oh, really? Is that really what happened? Because we have all these witnesses that say these kids were trafficked to these people. And he was literally reading off names. But yet we know the government's lying to us. We know the FBI director's lying to us. We know that for sure. And one thing I will say, we had Jason Hansen on, CIA officer, former CIA officer. He used to go on.
Yeah, but he said it was an open and shut case, just like Ashton is saying.
Yeah, but
pretty much.
Yeah, but listen,
look,
here's
this is like one of the most open and shut cases possible. You don't have to believe the government to understand that this was a leftist lunatic that did this. Literally, his dad is doing. His dad's not the government. Discord is not the government. Guys, this is the problem. People are just conflating everything and saying that everything is equal, and it's not. It's not how it works. This is the problem with you guys. And I have to be honest to my fans and followers. This is why I had to purge you guys, is that you are telling me I'm losing credibility with people that have no credibility themselves. This is only going to increase my credibility because I'm actually using logic and reason, and you all are not. And this is why I had to purge you all out, because I realized from this that the people that are following me, the people that claim to support me, that don't even really retweet any of my content or engage with my content ever, they are just completely off the deep end, full on, everything's a conspiracy. There's always another layer. And I even have a term for it. I call it hitting on 19. Guys, you never hit on 19. And you brought this upon yourselves. This is your fault, and you need to own it. And I'm talking to the people out there that have been pushing this stuff, because you pushed all these inconsistencies without waiting. You should have waited for the full evidence to come out. Then you can start figuring out if there's inconsistencies in the official story. But since you didn't do that, you lost all credibility, permanently damaging your cause. So for the people out there that are the low IQ anti-Semites or whatever, I want you to understand that you permanently damaged your cause from this. Permanently did. There's nothing you can do about that now. And the best thing that you can do is that you can admit that you were wrong and you shouldn't have done it. Apologize to Erica Kirk, who now her children are going to have to deal with this psychotic conspiracy for the rest of their lives. And you can admit that you're wrong. This is the thing that I was going to press Ian on. These people can never, ever, ever admit that they're wrong. Because if they do that, the people that are the all-in people that are following them will turn against them. And they know it. But that's what must happen. Otherwise, we cannot. This just gets worse and worse, this situation. People just constantly are hitting on 19. In fact, this is so bad. This is like hitting on 21. I mean, we've got the shooter in custody. We've got all the evidence that we ever need. The guy is 100% going to be found guilty. He's going to be put to death unless Erica Kirk, whatever, steps in. She said she forgive him and she's not seeking the death penalty. So you guys did this yourself by painting yourself into a corner, by going all in on this. And let's please share a couple more text messages here. If you pull up my thing, I'll try to go through these pretty quick. So if you can pull this up. So right here, this is again, Ian, this is today. This is today. Ian Carroll hasn't stopped yet. He's now sharing Harrison Smith. This is also a fake story. And these guys are all just sharing fake stories that each of them are posting. And they're presenting it as facts. They're presenting it as definitive, right? And it's not. I mean, Ian Carroll has not backed down from this. Look at this, right? He even underlines it right there. He thinks Israel killed them, blah, blah, blah. Let's go to some more. Here's Candace Owens. Candace Owens was backtracking, saying, I never said that Israel did it. Sorry, guys, you murdered my friend. Who is she talking about? Who does she think murdered her friend? By the way, he's not really her friend. She lied about that too. She didn't even show up to the memorial. And I almost guarantee they told her not to because she's been pushing this schizo stuff. And so if you see here and you read the context, she's talking about Israel, Netanyahu. It's pretty clear what she's insinuating. She's insinuating Israel did it, but then she wants to backtrack and say, no, I never said Israel did it. Shut the fuck up, Candace. Here's Ian Carroll again. Ian Carroll goes, this was like the 13th, or September 11th, September 13th. There it is, right? So I've been pushing this guy for over a week. Did a whole stream. My current stance is not that Israel did it. Okay, well, what does this tweet say? Yesterday was a turning point for, this is less than 24 hours after Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Yesterday was a turning point for Israel-U.S. relations. Less than 24 hours and the internet already figured out who the most likely culprit was. He was their friend. He basically dedicated his life to them, and they murdered him in front of their family. Israel just shot themselves. This is one of the most abhorrent tweets I've ever seen. This tweet alone should cancel Ian Carroll for life. Joe Rogan should issue a public apology for why he ever platformed this disgusting piece of shit grifter. And before you get mad at me, there's more. Here's him questioning the magic bullet after it turned out the bullet does exist. Here's him questioning the executive producer of TPUSA, of Charlie Kirk, who literally wrote a speech today, literally spoke today just a few hours ago, trying to keep the conspiracy alive. Absolutely wild. He can't just admit he's wrong. And then, okay, that one, that's about it. So let me unshare this. So this is the thing. These guys have no way that they should be able to backtrack. Now, actually, there's one more video that I want to share here, because this was Ian Carroll just on Friday. Just on Friday that he shared this video. And I think we should watch this together. I think you'll enjoy it, or at least a little bit of it, okay? So we'll pull this up. So this is Ian Carroll's getting all this backlash, and he deserves it, from his stupid tweets and posts, where he clearly has already decided that Israel did it before any evidence had come out. Let's see what he says.
One of the largest political people in America assassinated on live TV. Your first thought should be, was this a professional assassination?
What? My first thought should be it's a professional assassination? No, my first thought was it must be another trans person.
And it's not necessarily. There are definitely crazy kooks that take shots at people. Usually, the crazy kooks seem to get an arsenal of guns and go into a school and go on a suicide mission, essentially. And, you know, murder a bunch of people and then take their own life. That's what usually seems to happen. Not usually are they planning out a carefully orchestrated hit that involves them getting away clean and then giving a whole text message admission of guilt on regular old texts. Like, right? And so,
and he doesn't even address the text. The text exists. He just wants to dismiss that. Keep going. Keep going, Ian.
We have more than enough evidence to be asking the question, was there intelligence agencies involved in this?
There's literally no evidence that points to intelligence agencies being involved in this. Literally none.
Way more than enough evidence to ask that question
Are you
legitimately.
kidding me?
And when you start asking that question legitimately, that's how you get to the Israel conversation.
Now, this is exactly how Ian's gone completely off the rails, right?
And the Israel conversation is not one. No one is claiming at this point that anyone knows for sure that it was Israel.
Literally, Ian Carroll said right away, I showed you guys the text just now, less than 24 hours later, he was saying that it was Israel. And now, I mean, this is just straight up gaslighting. This is what the left does, right? They gaslight you. They lie. They do inversion of reality. We've seen the text messages, buddy. You're canceled. Let's keep going.
Okay.
Not done.
Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Dave Smith, all the right-wing commentators that are involved in this conversation that were involved in Charlie's life and the scandal around the Israel stuff, none of them have at all made the claim that Israel was involved in this in any way. I have made that claim because I'm not involved. This is not my case to solve.
Okay, there he goes. It's not his case to solve. Exactly, Ian. Shut the fuck up. Holy shit. How is he going to do this trash? This is actually worse than what Jimmy Kimmel did, if I have to be honest. Because he's right. He should have nothing to do with this, and he shouldn't even be bringing it up. But he's perpetuating this conspiracy. He's pretending like he's not when he is.
I was not involved. I didn't know Charlie. I was not involved in Turning Point. I'm staying out of it. I am a dude on the...
He's not staying out of it. There's no... Not only is he not staying out of it,
That
he's
is true.
still literally retweeting this shit right now, today, while he should be here in a debate facing me, destroying him. I cannot tell you. You cannot have a lower opinion of this guy. And for all the psychos in the chat right now who are freaking out because their hero's a complete fraud, take a good look. This is the guy destroying your movement.
Sidelines looking in. I've purposely not asked Candace for any inside information. I've not tried to dig in to like get fucking a bunch of sources and stuff because I don't want to get in. I don't want to get in there. This is not my thing. And
what do you mean you don't want to get in there? Okay, that's enough. I've had enough of Ian Carroll's disgusting mustache and face. And he goes, I'm not trying to get in there. Dude, you're not. Literally, I looked at his posts and his Twitter. It's wall-to-wall schizo Israel stuff. Literally wall-to-wall, that's it. Except for the one tweet that I showed you where he's weirdly supporting LGB. Bro, how about we send you to Gaza and we'll see how much LGB support there is in Gaza, bro. And so this is just totally crazy. The amount of gaslighting. And by the way, for the next 6 minutes in that video, he literally plays all the clips that everybody's been sharing, claiming that Charlie Kirk has had this change of heart on Israel to again support the theory, the insinuation that they killed him. So not only he goes and says, I don't want to be involved, and then he just goes and then does the same thing again. The guy either has no self-awareness or I don't know what's going on with him.
But let's talk about these claims for a minute.
Yeah.
What are these claims and how valid are they?
Well, let me play a clip. And so a lot of this has come from this clip on Megyn Kelly. We'll play this right now because you had mentioned it just a minute ago, Ashton. We'll play this clip of what Charlie Kirk actually said with Megyn Kelly. Listen, let me start this over.
The behavior.
Here we go.
By a lot, both privately and publicly, are pushing people like you and me away. Not like we're going to be pro-Hamas, not like we're going to, but we're like, honestly, the way you are treating me is so repulsive. I have text messages, Megyn, calling me an anti-Semite. I am learning biblical Hebrew and writing a book on the Shabbat. I honor the Shabbat, literally the Jewish Sabbath. I visit Israel and fight for it. And there's another article out in the Times of Israel today. I could read it on air. I was just reading before I got on. Charlie, what are you doing? Like, why are you? What am I doing? I'm sorry. Like, let's just take a step back here. Like, I'm an American citizen. Yes, I want Israel to win. Yes, I'm a Christian. But like some of the mess, and you saw, you've seen how I've been treated, Megyn, by some, not all, by some.
No, it's very irritating. It's been so unfair. They were coming after you after a turning point for, among other things, that you had Dave Smith there. Dave Smith is allowed to criticize Israel. You had both sides. The Israeli side was overrepresented.
Though. No, you're not allowed to. It's even worse than that. Again, I just want to repeat for the 5th time. I love Israel. I want Israel to win. But my moral character is now being put into question, Megyn. Not my decisions. Not like, hey, are you doing this? Is it smart or is it dumb? But no. I am a bad person if I do this. And I could go, you saw it, Megyn. It was trending on Twitter, thousands of tweets and text messages. And if I were to be charitable and generous, I will say the people that are attacking me are in a hyper paranoid state because they're at war, and war tends to make things black and white. And you're a hammer looking for a nail. So I'm trying to be charitable, Megyn. Literally, I'm trying to cut as much slack as I can, right? Like, okay, what would it be like if all of a sudden I'm starting to see a pattern of behavior similar to what my grandparents saw in 1930s Germany online? How would I behave? So that's like my charitable kind of overcompensation spirit. At the same time, I'm like, but it's not defensible to be dumb. Right?
Yeah.
So,
and it's offensive. It's offensive to those of us who have been out there defending them in many instances against critics on our own side. And now you have a couple of comments like, well, what about this? Well, has it gone on too long? Like, is it time to wrap it up? And the thing about Epstein is just so bizarre. I don't know who he was an agent for. It might have been Israel or an asset, or it might have been nobody, but we're allowed to speculate about that. It's there's some rule. You can't go there when it comes to Israel.
Well, you and I believe that we're Americans and Americans first, period. End of story. We are citizens of this nation, okay?
That's right.
Israel, we have funded, we have supported, and they're up against a sea of Islamic totalitarianism, and we should be cheering for them, right? Because they're up against barbarians and monsters, and we want them to win. However, here is Megyn Kelly and Charlie Kirk combined, probably 30 million social media followers, like pretty, right? And you and I have been holding this down, and you probably get the negative, oh, you're just shilling for Israel, whatever. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do what's right regardless of the feedback, right? But then all of a sudden, like, I host a person that I moderate the debate of, mind you, right? And I give equal time to Josh Hammer, equal time to a pro-Israel advocate, and my moral character is being put into question. And so I think it's a hyper paranoid, like we're just going to try to, we're going to just stamp out everything type of practice. But it goes to the point where, if, for example, if I have less ability sometimes online to criticize the Israeli government.
Guys, I'm willing to listen to clips. I don't want to listen to a 4-minute clip that literally is nothing in there. This is the insane shit that people are doing. What am I supposed to take from that? He's mildly critical of Israel because Jews are sensitive. Yeah, I know Jews too. They are sensitive. In fact, I think it's appropriate to be critical of that. It certainly does not mean they killed him. In fact, it's insane to take that clip and use that as evidence that Israel killed him. Literally insane.
Yeah.
Which, by the way,
but people in the chat that are like, listen to this, you need psychological help. That is really mundane. Let me play a clip for you. This was only a few weeks ago. This is Charlie Kirk directly speaking to you, the obsessed Jew people. Get ready for it. This is
There is a corner of the internet of people that want to point and blame the Jews for all their problems. Everybody, this is demonic and it's from the pit of hell, and it should not be tolerated. Period. But it goes to the structural problem of an entire generation that has economic resentment. They don't own anything. They're not getting married. They're not having children. They're depressed. They're anxious. They're staring at their screens all day long. And if all of a sudden your extrapolation of all that is, well, it's the Jews' fault, that is sloppy and shallow thinking. And not only that, they say, oh, it's the Jews' fault. Okay, let's kind of play this out. Well, tuberculosis, that used to kill about 1 billion people. You know, it's a group of Jewish scientists that came up with the antibiotic that cured tuberculosis.
That's all we need. You can go back. So straight off the bat, he says, you people that are making everything about the Jews, which is 100% what these people are doing, you are demonic. Demonic. Listen carefully. That other clip you were playing that was just some weird mundane clip, that's the actual evidence. It's just ridiculous how these people are twisting it to try to. These are the same people saying that they're not blaming Israel. You're trying to twist Charlie Kirk's pretty mundane words. Or the other thing they'll say is, oh, well, Netanyahu came out and he blamed Islam. No, he didn't. I listened to the clip.
No, he didn't.
Netanyahu was equating the left, who did kill Charlie Kirk, the trans, homosexual, furry, whatever lover guy. He was equating them to the Islamists who are violent, who literally strap bombs to themselves and blow themselves up. Now, I'm not saying there's a right or wrong in the holy war. Truthfully, if you guys want to destroy yourselves, fine. I think if you are so low IQ that some weird holy war fight over land is, your major concern in this world, then honestly, you're not intelligent enough to have like advanced technology that the government.
Well, and I just want to ask you guys, what does Israel have to gain from an assassination to Charlie Kirk?
Well, they don't.
Because there is no gain for Israel in this whole thing.
If they were trying to silence political people, they're not going to go after Charlie Kirk first. They're going to go after Ian Carroll or Nick Fuentes or Candace Owens or the other people who are actually not just being critical, but making documentaries, putting all this propaganda out there. I mean, one mundane post about it. And here, by the way, and for the people that went all in on those, and they went all in on the $150 million bribe and the secret messages that Candace Owens doesn't actually have. She's a complete liar. Well, Charlie Kirk's wife is about to address those on a podcast this week. So I'm going to go ahead and say there's a really good chance that those narratives are about to be annihilated. And these people are trying to say, Candace Owens is trying to say that he's my best friend. He was my best friend, which he's not. He was not his best friend. So I know his state of mind. That's what they're trying to say. Nobody knows Charlie Kirk's state of mind better than his wife. Right. So I don't want to hear anything. Ian Carroll, these other people are already trying to set up that his wife is already in on this. Don't you even try it. Don't you even try it. I'm going to come down on you so hard if you do.
I want to talk about something real quick because, I mean, we have to at least make this a known statement on this show, on this podcast, is that although I do not think that Israel killed Charlie Kirk, the criticisms of Israel are valid, in my opinion.
Let me address that too, if you don't mind. Yes, I believe that there is probably a genocide happening in Palestine. Absolutely. I don't believe that the Mossad is good, just like I don't believe the CIA is good. I believe that the CIA and the Mossad are like this. I'm the one who actually, one of the only people that reported on the fact that the Mossad assassinated 9 nuclear scientists a few months back. You can find my Twitter post about it. I mean, it's pretty scary because why am I talking about that? Because 0 point energy is connected to nuclear physics 100%. So why are they taking those people out? Because they know that these type of people that are deranged, that will literally use a weapon like that and possibly eradicate all of us, including themselves, can never be allowed to have this technology. And they're right. They're right. I don't know. It's hard for you guys to hear that, but it is. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to have to let Israel win or Palestine win. I don't really care. I just care that we can't wipe ourselves off the face of the earth.
Yeah. So Ashton too, I mean, you know, with people like Ian Carroll and Candace Owens, which are immediately Israel, everything's Israel, no matter what. Like if you get an ingrown toenail, Israel probably did it, right? And they're going to make sure they know that. But I promise you,
hold on, way a while.
But I promise you, there are people on the other side that are 100% Israel does nothing wrong, and I've seen these people on social media. By the way, one of these people actually retweeted one of your posts earlier, Misfit Patriot, and I saw he had retweeted. Yeah, I saw that he had posted this, and I've actually a couple of times went back and forth because no matter what, Misfit Patriot, if you want to see, and by the way, for anyone that doesn't know, there are paid assets on both sides. You know, when leading up to the election of Kamala Harris versus Trump, and you would have these posts that Kamala Harris would post, and you would look at these, you would look at the tweets, just scroll through them. They were all pretty much identical. You could see probably 100 posts that were almost damn near identical. These are bot farms. These are bot farms that are propping up these posts, making the narrative, creating a narrative. And then on top of that, you also had people like the Krasentine brothers. You had people like Harry Sisson. You had all these assholes on that side saying, oh, Kamala Harris is the best thing ever. Oh, Biden is not senile whatsoever. He is the greatest president we've ever had in our entire life. And these are the people that would prop this shit up. And so then you also see people with the Israel narrative. They'll do the exact same thing. And these are not just bots. These are actually assets to whatever that faction of the narrative is. But here's the question, Ashton. I know for sure there are people that are pro-Israel out there that are being funded probably either by AIPAC or some type of faction to where they want to make sure that the conversation stays alive about Israel. And then think about this, Charlie Kirk being dead. Now he was assassinated by a left.
They would have funded this?
No, but no, I'm not saying funding. I'm
or
saying
even did this.
No, I'm not even saying Israel had anything to do with this. All I'm saying is that you have these people that are funded on the left that supports and props up Israel. And then you look at when Charlie Kirk was assassinated, this pro-Christian, pro-Jesus movement has just, I mean, it's the biggest thing I've ever seen in America. But you know you have it on both sides. The question is like, if Ian and Candace are pushing this shit so hard, who would be funding them? If we know that,
exactly, who is funding them?
I don't think it's funding, guys. Like a lot of people think that, and it might be getting indirectly funded, but unlikely. Honestly, I think that this just we're in the middle of a holy war. It's a holy war, guys. There's a huge amount of propaganda on both sides. I don't think one side is better than the other. Frankly, like that's just the reality of the situation. And yes, and I talk to people on both sides. I'm following Nick Fuentes. I just followed the Misfit Patriot guy. It's not because I agree with his stuff. I've seen his, kind of like pretty far out there and obviously propaganda takes. They're in the middle of a propaganda war. That doesn't give you permission to use Charlie Kirk's death for it. That's why I'm doing this. Because if you want, the first question I was going to ask you is, why do you think I'm doing this? It's not because I'm a Zionist shill or not because I'm Jewish. It's because you're literally pulling Charlie Kirk's death into the middle of your propaganda holy war. That's the reason why I'm coming down on these people. And if the other side did it, I would be going just as hard on them as well. It just turns out in this case, they didn't.
So what is the holy war, Ashton? What is the war?
That's not my wheelhouse. I'm not going to get into that whatsoever. But what I do want to get into is, last thing I'll say is this, in terms of the evidence, in terms of the conspiracy, here's the thing. You need to be able to ask yourself, and this is what I would have asked Ian, what is it going to take for you to admit that you're wrong? That is the question. If you can't answer that question, then you have the blinders on. You are too biased in that case. People ask me that question. What would it take, Ashton, for you to admit that the MH370 videos are fake? And I do have an answer. Find the plane or find the hoaxer of the videos. These are things that would absolutely prove the videos are fake. If you find the plane in the South Indian Ocean, then obviously it did get zapped to Diego Garcia or whatever.
Did anyone
If
claim
you
that?
find the hoaxer of the videos, then obviously they're fake videos. But there isn't a hoaxer. There isn't a plane. This also, if you don't have some boundary to say this is where the boundary is of proof, then your story doesn't make any sense. And I was going to ask Ian, what is your story? And I know his answer is, I don't know. This is what they say every time. I say, okay, if you think all this stuff's fake, if you think that Israel did, what is the story? Give me the timeline. Give me the evidence. Throw it out there. You notice in that video that he showed, he said, there's plenty of evidence to blame Israel, but he doesn't list any of it. Yeah. And then he just shows that video, the clips that are just like, what is that video clip of Charlie Kirk talking to Megyn Kelly? It's like, oh, he was just slightly critical of how Jewish people are super defensive of the people that attack them and anti-Semitism. I do think they're overly sensitive. Absolutely. But I'm happy to talk to somebody like Nick Fuentes.
Yeah. But. And I've been thinking about like what would be the pros of Israel assassinating Charlie Kirk? What are the pros? Is there any pros for them doing that?
No, I don't think so.
No,
listen, but let's talk about this for a second. So for Ian and Candace's stance on this is that, he was getting a little more anti-Israel more than pro-Israel. I don't believe necessarily as a case, like you said, Ashton, and I do agree, if you want one of the most staunch reporters or supporters of Israel, you have Charlie Kirk. But also at the same time, you have Charlie Kirk, which was the biggest movement, Turning Point USA, and it probably is going to be even bigger now. I mean, after Charlie Kirk's death, you're not going to have Charlie Kirk again.
Oh, but Erica is going to be the CIO or CIO. It's like CIO.
CEO.
CEO. Yeah.
Yeah. But that doesn't matter. Charlie Kirk is gone. You're not going to have another Charlie Kirk. It doesn't matter what it is. And this is not going to help Israel. This is not going to help their stance in any way, shape, or form. But the reality of this is that, you have all of these things, and whatever Erica Kirk says Wednesday on the show, will she actually kind of talk about the Israel and the conspiracies and people like Candace and Ian? We have not talked a lot about, by the way, yet Candace. We've talked a lot about Ian, but let's briefly talk about Candace, because Ashton, you've went on Candace Owens' podcast. Candace brought you on. She wanted to talk about MH370 because what I will say, and I think this is why a lot of people like Candace, or she's not scared to talk about the things that is kind of taboo. And so with the MH370 thing, she brought you on. She said, hey, let's bring Ashton on. Very smart guy. She wanted you to present your case for MH370. And I literally saw a tweet or post or X or whatever the hell you want to call it the other day. And it said, for Ashton to go so hardcore against Candace, knowing that Candace supported him with the MH370 thing, he must have got contacted.
Or bought or something.
Yeah. So that's been a big narrative. But what exactly, what was the big thing that Candace said? Was she 100% kind of blaming Israel? What was some of the arguments that she had with Israel and Charlie Kirk's assassination?
Well, I mean, I showed you the tweets. So, I saw those tweets a second ago where she was claiming they killed him, they killed my friend, all this stuff. And then she was saying that she has some messages and stuff, but she can't show them, or she won't show them. And initially was going to put them behind paywall, never showed them at all. Nick called her out on that, said that she needs to release those messages 100%. They just don't exist, right? Like, in my opinion, she's just a pathological liar. And let me play this clip here, because when she's claiming to be Charlie's friend, she released a message from like May. That was probably the last message she had from Charlie Kirk.
Yeah,
if somebody's your friend, you haven't talked to them in what, 5 months or something like that? That's just an acquaintance. That's not your best friend, not even close to your best friend. So, and I didn't seem that, incredible that the conversation was like 3 messages back and forth. Like my buddy Dave Rossi just did an interview with Eric W. Davis, who's one of these UFO whistleblowers. I talked to him like almost every other day. So if that was somebody, like, I should be able to show messages, So she claimed to have these receipts, doesn't have them. People are calling her out. I'm calling her out in her reply. She's not addressing it. She's not addressing any of these major questions that are being asked about her supposed evidence that she has. She convinced Dave Smith and Tucker Carlson the day after or 2 days after to come on and try to help build up this narrative that Israel was turning on Charlie Kirk. Dave Smith released some text messages, and they were totally mundane as well. And Dave Smith, I could tell, was super uncomfortable. He did a podcast the day before where he was like, he says, I think he mentions Ian Carroll, and he's like, dude, what's the evidence for why Israel's involved in this? And he was super awkward because he didn't want to be attacking his friends. And this shows zero integrity. Dave Smith should get dragged over the coals for this. Because then the next day, he goes on Candace Owens and starts promoting her schizo conspiracy theory, right? It's like, dude, you have no integrity if that's what you do. So just because Candace Owens had me on, that doesn't mean I owe her anything. She's the one making money off me in the story. So, you may say, oh, well, she gave you exposure. Great. I don't want that kind of exposure if this is where she's going to take it. If she had done this now, I wouldn't go on her show anymore. But back then, she was just like you guys said. I thought she was exposing stuff. We had great conversation. Expect when I went in there was nothing had been set. There was no ground rules for how the conversation was going to go. I went into the lion's den thinking that I'm going to be able to, whatever. She might attack me. She might try to debunk it. I didn't know. And she was respectful. Now, I'll give you my true opinion on it. I don't think she could really stay on the same level of the discussion that was happening. She had some good insights for sure related to playing, but the science and stuff was, over her head, which is fine. I'm not judging her for that. So ultimately, though, I don't owe these people anything. For me, just because someone platformed me, great. That doesn't mean I owe you for the rest of my life. Doesn't mean I can't speak out against you when you're just lying on the internet. Let's listen to this together, because people are calling her out saying, are you going to even show up to the memorial? You're claiming to be friends with Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, I saw that.
Right? So clearly you're going to go to them. Everybody's at the memorial. So who's who of every single, podcaster is there. Elon Musk is sitting next to Trump today.
Yeah.
You got Benny Johnson speaking, Jack Poso. You've got Tucker Carlson even speaking, which it was kind of questionable whether or not he would be there, because
I was surprised.
He went on with Candace Owens and started spreading these rumors, right?
Yeah.
Which we all think are probably going to be getting dispelled. So here's her response. And this is how you can tell that she's trying to set this narrative. She's trying to get ahead of the narrative, because people are questioning it. They're questioning the receipts. The receipts never materialized. Now she's claiming to be best friends with Charlie Kirk. Now let's listen to Candace Owens.
I said, there is no way we are going to this event now. There's a 0% chance. First and foremost, why are you saying invite? Anybody can go to it. You just buy a ticket to the event, and you're all working to try to get me to confirm that I'm going. And you're doing this as if you're trying to push my buttons and be like, we got to make her get into her ego so she shows up and posts it on social media. Nope. Actually, while I'm attacking the feds, maybe not going to a public event, which the feds are organizing, is probably a very good idea. I'm good. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to listen to Power on my headphones and go see Ye. How's that for a memorial for Charlie Kirk? That feels like the right thing for me to do right now. I said, there is no way we are going to this event now.
So, wait, why is that? So there she is setting up the narrative, because she knows she's about to get destroyed. Because I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think they told her not to come. I think they told her, you're not welcome. Don't show up. And everybody was asking her, are you going to show up? You're saying that you're her best friend. You're best friend. And so now she's setting up this bullshit narrative where, oh, I'm scared. The feds are going to be there. What are you talking? What the hell are you talking about, Candace? So it's the most secure event on the face of the earth. They got military protection in place. The feds going to arrest you. What have you done that the feds would arrest you for? It's obviously bullshit. She's going to go listen to Kanye West. I mean, that's just a weird response. So let's be honest. She needs to be called out for this. People need to have integrity. Call her out. Just because you like her, you're her friend, whatever, that does not make it okay to be silent about this. She's lying, and she's dragging Charlie Corpse's body around to make money off of it, to grift off of it, to do ad reads off of it, to tell people I'm going to release the receipts, and then she never does. And then she brags about how many people are watching, including going, oh, there's 250,000 people watching. This is amazing. You can tell that she sees dollar signs in her eyes, right? Yeah. And so this is where I say, honestly, at this point with Candace, I hope the Macrons just wipe her out. The lawsuit, the trans thing, I read that lawsuit, not all of it, but significant. It's 200 pages, and they have tons of receipts. They've got photos of Bridget Marcone. They've got newspaper clippings of when she was born, when she got married, her children, all this stuff. Candace is going to get annihilated by them unless she can find out on a technicality. And to be honest, it might be what needs to happen because obviously she's delusional. I mean, look at that clip. That clip is insane.
Yeah, I do think that. But, she did do a podcast and she used BB, for example. And when he came on Fox News and said, we really supported Charlie Kirk. We loved him, blah, blah, blah.
He was a great friend.
And he was a great friend of Israel.
Yeah.
And she read a portion of showed a portion of where he was reading the letter. She said she wanted receipts of the whole letter. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, because apparently this letter from Charlie Kirk said a lot more than what BB.
She said she had it, right? Isn't that the receipts that she said she had?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
where is it? She's like, she said something about if they keep attacking me, I'm going to release it. And that was when Nick was like, yo, release the letter. You can't just hold this over people's heads if you've got some secret evidence. And she doesn't, right? She doesn't. So the reality is if she had it, she would have released it because she's been getting annihilated on social media. I mean, in the last 2 days, there was a huge campaign of people just straight up blocking her, including myself, because I'm done with her. When I saw that clip, that's when I'm done with her gaslighting. Like, you got to be kidding me. You're trying to pretend like you're not going because you're scared. That's not why you're not going. You're not going because you're not wanted there.
Yeah.
And so I expect that Charlie Kirk's wife is going to come out pretty hard over these accusations. And if you watch the clip from the podcast, there's like the podcaster released a kind of intro about the interview that's going to be coming out. They say they are going to address all these claims, including the $150 million bribe. So presumably the letter. So hopefully we'll find out the truth. And anybody that tries to cast doubt or attack them and say that they're owned or whatever, let me give you some advice. Don't do that. Don't do that. You've already done enough damage to your own movement. At this point, just take the L. Just take the L, boys. Take the L on this one. You lost badly. You tried to turn this into an Israel thing. It backfired. Like the watermelon girl, boom, blow it up on your face. And it's only going to get worse if you keep pushing it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you can't hate Israel. I'm not saying that you can't believe in conspiracy theories. Conspiracies clearly do happen. I'm just saying it was a miss on this one. It was a miss on this one. You shouldn't have gone after Charlie Kirk. And what they did was they underestimated how much people love Charlie Kirk. They underestimated how much of an impact Charlie Kirk was going to have on the right. The last thing I want to say about this is this: to expose both Ian Carroll and Candace Owens, anybody who disagrees with anything I've said, go ahead and look at their Twitter feeds. Show me where you see either of them giving condolences or memorializing or talking about Charlie Kirk at all. Show me anywhere where they're saying, rest in peace, Charlie Kirk, or wow, Charlie Kirk is going to help change everything. They're not. They have no sympathy whatsoever for the fact that Charlie Kirk died. If you go look at my feed, everywhere you're going to see me talking about, we're going to fight back because of this. We're going to take out the woke left because of this. Quoting things from Charlie Kirk, retweeting some of his old content, including a cool video that he had where he supposedly saw some UFOs while he was flying around in a plane. They're not doing anything to remember Charlie Kirk. All they're doing is they're hurting his legacy. This exposes them for exactly what they are. Everywhere else across Twitter, you see people memorializing him. And so this is the biggest reveal of all. If you want to speculate on what's going on, here's speculation for you. Here's a conspiracy theory for you. The people out there thinks everything's a conspiracy, here's the real conspiracy. These people are out here to divide the right. They want to take some of the people on the right and try to convince them that it was Israel, so we stop blaming the left, the people that are actually responsible for Charlie Kirk's death.
Interesting.
Or here's the other side of that, Ashton. What if?
Oh, God.
What if someone implanted information into these people?
I knew you were going to go that way.
Listen, hold on.
This is the reverse of the reverse of the reverse psychology.
But listen, what if, though, some quote unquote credible sources implanted information into them to where it made them look crazy for even saying this shit so soon, to where it kind of excused Israel's other discretions?
Yeah. I mean, maybe, I think that there could be a distraction. I mean, basically you're saying, could it be a distraction? Sure.
Right.
So, I mean, to me, that makes more sense than Israel being involved in, his assassination. It's distracting us from others. It's distracting us from Epstein. Sure. I'd believe that before I'll believe that Israel assassinated, paid a $22 year-old, homosexual dating a trans furry,
Mhm.
right? Like, it's just beyond what I'm willing to,
Right.
believe in. And I'm a pretty open-minded guy. So yes, to me, it's more of like, are we being distracted by this stuff? Why are they pushing it so hard? Why do they keep pushing it even though their whole story is falling apart? Why can't they let that go? And there's another thing I'll say for the people out there that are really upset with me, and there's a lot that are really, really upset.
No way.
Why do you
I've been
care
reading
so
comments.
much about making this a conspiracy?
Yeah.
Think about it. This is what I was
Yeah.
telling people. I've been blocking
I
a
mean-
lot of people. If you are somebody that is obsessed with this, why? Why are you so obsessed with making this about an Israel conspiracy? Why are you obsessed with making this to a conspiracy at all? Right?
Well, I
They're
think,
obsessed with it.
I think it's the people that go against government and don't trust the government. Those are the people that are looking for the conspiracies because they don't believe in our own government.
No.
Period.
But so what? What does that have to do with Charlie Kirk?
Mhm.
Just because you don't believe in the government, you have to make up a conspiracy about Charlie Kirk? He's beloved. We're trying to literally put his body in the ground. So this is the thing. Like, can you realize that people are sensitive about this and just let it go? And the answer is no, they can't. And the reason why they can't let it go is because they're obsessed with making it about Israel. It's not about Charlie Kirk. It's not about the truth. The people that, if they were actually after the truth, they would have the grace to not talk about it and let people grieve until after he's in the ground. Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's what they would have if it was about the truth. So that's the reality of the situation. So what I would tell people out there, and if people continue to attack me, I'm going to continue to block people. I don't care how many followers I lose. I've lost like 5,000 followers over this, and I don't give a one shit. I could lose all of my 300,000 followers on Twitter over this. You need to do some soul searching for the people that are still trying to push this right now. You need to decide, how much is this narrative worth it to you? Is it worth it for you to lose all your credibility? Is it worth it for you to get completely shunned because you just can't let this go? You need to decide that for yourself, look internally, and really ask yourself, why do you care so much about making a fake conspiracy related to Charlie Kirk that has no evidence to support it, none at all, that is contraindicated by all the evidence that's out there?
Yeah.
That's what you have to ask yourself. And a lot of people are not going to be able to handle this because their minds have been broken. It's called brain rot, been broken by this. And I feel bad for those people, but you need to get slapped. You need to get put in your place. And that's what I'm,
by the way, before this next quick segment, before we end, what is your religion and background like, just spirituality wise?
Yeah, I addressed this the other day because people always try to, make me part of the conspiracy, make anyone part of the conspiracy. I'm fully transparent.
Well, yeah.
I've always been fully transparent, and I've always been honest.
Anyone that's
baptized-
a scientist doesn't believe in God, right?
What? What did you say? Sorry.
I said anyone that's a scientist doesn't believe in God.
Oh,
But
no, that's
not
bullshit too.
you.
No,
Yeah,
no, we've
that's
talked about that.
bullshit.
There's no incompatibility between science and faith. I'm not an atheist. I believe in God. I was baptized Roman Catholic. I'm not practicing, but I am spiritual. Baptized Roman Catholic. I did go to Jewish preschool for like 1 year when I was like 4 years old.
Oh, there it is. We got him. We got him.
But then I went to public school up
Right.
until high school. And in high school, my parents forced me to go to Catholic high school where I went to mass, and Bible study, all that stuff, right? And then I moved to Singapore when I was in high school. So I literally lived with international people from all over the world, every possible religion and ethnicity. And then I came back to America. I was actually, let's say, agnostic / atheist in college for a little bit, had a phase like that, and became more and more spiritual as I've grown older. And now I do absolutely believe in God. I believe that this universe is a construct and all constructs have a creator. So there you go. That's my background. By the way, none of my family is Jewish. My mom's side of the family is Italian and German, like 3 or 4 generations back. My dad's side is Scottish. That's where Forbes comes from. Forbes is a long-standing Scottish name. There's a house, castle, Forbes, all this stuff. There you go. Now you know my background.
All right. So I do want to point this out because I can't let this show go without saying this. And we're talking about Charlie Kirk here. I know there's a big debate between Israel, Christianity. Did Israel do it? Did they not? Obviously, I think we've summed up that we do not at this time believe Israel has done it. We also believe that there are grifters out there that think or are trying to say that Israel has done it. But I do want to say about Charlie Kirk and his legacy. 2 Timothy 4:7 says, I have fought the good fight. I have finished a race. I have kept the faith. Charlie's life really reflected this. He wasn't perfect, but he lived with conviction. I mean, he stood boldly for what he believed, even when it cost him his life in this case. And so what will our legacy be? Will we be remembered just as people that didn't stand for truth, or will we be remembered as people that did stand for truth, or the people that stood silent? Charlie Kirk was not silent. He stood for truth no matter what it cost him, and eventually it did cost him his life. Joshua 1:9 says, have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened, and do not be dismayed, for that the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Fear is the tool of the enemy. When voices like Charlie's are attacked, it is meant to intimidate us, but we must not be in fear. Instead, we trust that God goes before us. And so no matter what, you have to speak on truth, and especially God. He says, do not be fearful of what you are supposed to say. This has been a big thing with us on this podcast, spirituality wise, is like, what do we say? And so the church must never shrink back. Like our calling as truth seekers, Ashton, you, people out there should be talking about, we can't recede after this. Our calling is to be courageous, and we cannot compromise.
Have to be Charlie Kirk. And even though I am not a Christian, I am still a follower of Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
And I believe in what he stood for. And that's number one. You know, and I think that there's this big elephant in the room right now, you know, about Israel and about Jews and where they stand and where Christians stand. And I think we have to have this conversation.
Well, and I want to go on. So love is our greatest weapon. John 13, 34 through 35 says, a new commandment I give you is that you love one another, not just as I have loved you, but you also have to love one another. By this of all people, that you know you are my disciples, if you have love for one another. Charlie challenged us to think critically and stand firm in this entire thing. That's why when he would bring people to the microphone, he would say, you know, hey, what is your situation? And some of these people are trans, some of these people are whatever walks of life. And then when the crowd would start kind of booing them or whatever, Charlie would say, no, let them talk, dude. Like this is the point of this conversation.
Right.
And so when hatred rises, love harder. When division deepens, build bridges. And that's what you got to do. Romans 1:16 says, for I am not ashamed of the gospel, for it is the power of God and the salvation for everyone who believes. Charlie wasn't ashamed to speak boldly, and neither should we. And the gospel is something not to hide.
Yeah.
It is the very power that changes hearts, families, and nations. And I think if you guys look at Charlie Kirk's assassination,
we have to have hard conversations too, though, where it doesn't go like with exactly what Charlie Kirk believed in, but his belief went far beyond the Christian belief.
Yeah.
He believed in everyone, and he believed that everyone was a child of God, no matter what their religion is. If they didn't believe in God, or if they did believe in God, he was trying to be a truth seeker to bring those people to God. And no matter where they are or what their stance was, I think that's the difference with Charlie Kirk than a lot of other people. I'll just let it there.
Let me just say that it's very difficult to unbrainwash people. I saw that comment in the chat. Absolutely. It may even be impossible. And that's what I said about, you know, we may have to make hard decisions about how we stop this. But Charlie Kirk was one of a kind. Watching his clips, what he did, nobody can do what he did. This guy went to college campuses, and he had the right kind of attitude to be able to interact with these people who were screeching lunatics that hated him, right? And he did it with grace every time. No, I'm not even going to say the guy's name. He's, well, you'll know, he's a cuck. He was trying to be Charlie Kirk. He's trying to go out there and do what Charlie Kirk did. He's just getting completely annihilated. People are screaming him down. He can't even handle a crowd. This goes to show that what Charlie Kirk did was a skill. And I really hope that we can learn from what he did and take the lessons from it and try to do what Charlie Kirk wanted to do, which was change the hearts and minds of people. I do hope that that's possible. I don't know that it is, but I do hope so.
No, I 100% agree with that, Ashton, for sure. It's been an interesting conversation tonight. Absolutely. And, you know, I wish Ian would have come on the show. He didn't. I literally, right before that we started this podcast, I said, hey, I sent the link to Ian. I said, hey, if you want to come on. Because, you know, I don't know how many people you have. I seeing 10,000 something here live, and that's across, I don't know, whatever platforms. But I think that clips from this or the actual show going forward will get a lot more notoriety.
Well, and I think we have to have conversations like this. And it's not just like calling somebody out and saying you're a piece of shit because you believe in this, but where does your thought process come from? Is it from making money, or is it from believing in like the truth of God?
Yeah.
You know, and this is where Chad and I struggle so much with religion. And, you know, I'm totally spiritual, but I'm not all into religion. And I think conversations like this have to be told, and people have to like hear them. And we got to figure out where we are in order to come together. Because I
Let me
think
tell you. Oh, go ahead.
I think there's so much divide in our world, and especially in America. And I think we're divided on more than just black and white and this and that. And, you know, but we are divided spiritually.
And let me say, in terms of how to reconcile, first of all, Ian Carroll, he should have already apologized to Erica Kirk. It's gross that he hasn't yet. That's the first thing he needs to do. He needs to apologize. He needs to admit that he was wrong for pushing this conspiracy theory. I mean, this is just base stuff. This is it. And he needs to say that he's a retard. I'm just adding that in there. He should also then apologize to me and the other people that he's been kind of going after for the last week straight. He needs to do that. He's going to lose a lot of followers. He's going to lose a lot of credibility, but that has to be the base point that he has to do. After that, here's the situation. I'm the kind of person that I will still listen to you. I will still listen to you, even if you push something like this, as long as the next time you learn from it. The next time you actually push something with facts and evidence. The reason why I liked Ian Carroll initially is that he had good videos and stuff where he actually pushed like his financial stuff. I didn't really watch his GameStop stuff, but I don't know what's happened to him recently, but now he's gone all in on this whole Israel thing where everything is about Israel. Everything has to be blamed on Israel. And I guess that's where he lost his way. So ultimately he can do whatever he wants. It's up to him. It's his life. He can choose what he wants to do. He has the right to freedom of speech, just like the rest of you do, to say and believe what you want. And I have the right to criticize it. That's the case. And that's what I'm going to do.
I agree. Well, guys, I think that's going to be it. You know, Ian did say, Ashton, that he would be willing to come on in a couple weeks, but I don't even want to entertain that because I don't think he will show up in 2 weeks.
But he
even
did
if
say,
hold on, Sherry, let me finish. In 2 weeks, he said he would come on, and everybody's like, bring Ian back on, and yet, of course, he's not going to come on. And I honestly kind of knew that he was not going to come on this particular episode.
I kind of felt it too. But he also said it was because of Ashton's rhetoric on X or Twitter.
That's not the reason why he didn't come on, because he was going to get annihilated. You guys listened to the whole thing, so let's not make excuses for these people, right? He needs to just be honest, right? He needs to be honest. He should have also been honest about his opinions of MH370, and I don't think he was being honest about that either. Like, the thing I hate the most is when these people are kind of deceptive. They're afraid to tell their true opinions. I value honesty. That's why I like Nick Fuentes. I don't agree with him. I'm not a racist. I'm not even anti-Semite or what have you, but he's honest about his opinions. He'll say what he means and what he feels. Ian Carroll's afraid to say what he feels because he's afraid of how the backlash. Those are the people that I can't stand. So step one, tell the truth. Tell your true opinion. That's my last thought.
And Ashton, I don't, like I said, I don't necessarily agree with everything you said tonight for sure. But, you know, I think that we have, I 100% agree with the Israel, you know, notion of Charlie Kirk's assassination. But, you know, we talk about this all the time on our podcast. If people want to follow our podcast, it's Investigator Earth Podcast on Spotify. We mostly do audio. We'll start doing more video stuff. And obviously, Ashton, you're on YouTube and X and all of that, Just X Ashton or Ashton Forbes on YouTube. Let us know what you guys think. Let us know, is there a bigger conspiracy behind this? I think in the next few weeks, we're going to find out a lot more. We have Erica Kirk going to be talking Wednesday about this. And so, Ashton, I will say, if she says some crazy stuff on that episode, it's, we got to get
back. And I'll have to eat a lot of crow. We'll see.
I hope so.
I doubt she will, but we'll see. But guys, that's going to be it for us. Thank you, Ashton, for coming on. We appreciate everybody for listening. Maybe next time we'll get Ian Carroll on the show. And there is Ashton. We would have Ashton dance if we had music at the end of this, because Ashton does do dancing every once in a while.
Yeah, because we have to dance in Charlie Kirk's
memory.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
I couldn't think of the word. Sorry.
All right, guys. Till next time, we love you. Peace out.